Right. Yeah. So we have two more questions. We had a few more questions for you specifically, Jan, but we also had one for Alix here. Maybe you have something to say about that too. But the question is WASM Thread, that's the crate that you mentioned as well, supported on all browsers? Because you only mentioned that it requires nightly and stuff like that. But would it then run on every browser that you know, or for multi-threading?
I think it requires like WASM Atomics, or it might require some features that are only available. Exactly which one? I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's.
So maybe not.
Maybe not, but yeah. I didn't see anything specific towards that in the crate description, so I don't think there would be specific browser limitations. But yeah.
I mean, that would be cool. That would be more ergonomic. Sorry?
I just want to say I don't know anything about multi-threading on WASM, but I can say a thing or two about build sizes in WASM, because I saw like a few questions were like circling around this topic of like how big is it, how can we make it smaller, everything like that. So should I talk a bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. Please.
So this is definitely no new topic for me, since our jam submission clocks in at a compressed 20 megabytes or so, which is, it's bigger than we would like, but still at the same time, it's a full 3D game. It's fine. So
that includes, that's just the WASM, right? Or is that the whole assets as well?
That's the whole thing.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's not too bad.
But compression really helps. So even then, before, when Alix was showing his WASM file, server at the end of the day also sends it compressed. So it's not the full thing you download.
Of course.
Number one thing that, according to some benchmarks that me and some others did, that helps with lowering the sizes of your WASM builds is disabling dependencies. I mean, okay, the number one thing is obviously like don't check in gigantic 3D models, right? But that's trivial. Other than that, disable dependencies that you have. So set everywhere where you have dependencies, set them to optional, and like set default features to false, and just check in the ones that you need. That makes a huge difference. That's number one. Number two is this is only available on main, but some people did some benchmarks on or some investigations of what the contents were actually of the WASM files, and a lot of that was debug strings. So stuff like system names, function names, things like that, which it's nice, but on WASM you probably prefer to have the size. So on main right now there is an opt-in feature flag you can disable by disabling the default features that will exclude all of these debug strings, which makes a huge difference.
And they're even in release builds if you are using Bevy 16 now?
Yes.
Oh, that sucks.
It's a lot of these strings, yes. So those are my 2 cents about that.
Did you try the main thing where you disabled that feature? Like, do you
I didn't yet
recollect how
I didn't port my stuff to main yet, but looking at the benchmarks that other people did with it, it was like, woo, okay, that's a lot. It's a lot of strings.
Yeah, that sounds promising. Also kind of curious why this is in release builds, but that's a different question, I guess.
No one bothered to remove those.
Yeah, I guess.
No, if you do #derived debug, then you have a #derived debug. That's available in release, right?
True, of course. All right. But there's actually another TrenchBroom specific question for you, Jan.
Sure.
So Quake maps had baked lighting. Is that supported?
Yes, with an asterisk. So if you know about Quake maps, the stuff that you actually edit with TrenchBroom, those are .map files. .map is a very, very simple format. Just shows you, here's geometry. Very simple, very neat format. What you can do is you can use so-called Quake map compilers. The important thing to Google there is Eric W tools. That's like the compiler people use. You point that to your map file it generates a BSP file, that is binary space partitioning, and that one has all the baked lighting in it. And you can actually import these BSP files into Bevy, and then you also have baked lighting in there. Now, the reason why I said asterisk is that this workflow is primarily, because these compilation tools were primarily done for Quake, so they also follow the limitations of Quake. And there are some very, very, very annoying limitations there. Like, for example, all of your texture paths, that is not just the name, but also the subfolders, must add up to less than 15, or like equally to 15 letters in length. So,
oh wow,
this is not compatible with how I personally organized my files, you know. So what I did is I wrote a ACID pre-processing script that takes all of my paths and clamps them down onto 15 characters length, then goes into the map file and replaces the lengths with that. And that way it works. I will say though, this is stupid. So this is not the fault of Bevy Trench Brew, but I wouldn't do it. Like, I tried it. It was a lot of work. I got it working in the end, and I wouldn't recommend it. What I would instead do, and I say would in scare quotes because I didn't bother with it, is Trench Brew can actually export your geometry as a .obj file, and you can load this object file into Blender, and then you can use something like PC Walton's Blender global illumination baking workflow in order to bake that lighting.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I didn't do that should be obvious, because this is all so much setup across different pipelines. In my opinion, baked lighting is just not there yet in Bevy. It all works like in theory.
Yeah, and I mean, with Blender, then you're back to where you started, right? And then also you probably lose all the entity, like the types, the entity classes that you.
That's a very good point. No, you don't, because for Blender, it's just you just have the geometry, and you don't load this geometry for your world data or anything. You're not loading the Blender file. What you do is
just
generate.
load the light.
Exactly. Yeah. You bake the light into a file, and then you just load the light information. So that's not a problem. Also, like, you're not designing the level in Blender. You're just using it to bake stuff. And you can also, in theory, automate that if you have a baking setup.
Yeah, and if you want to write a bunch of Python.
Exactly.
All right.
You just have to nerd snipe your friends into writing these tools for you. That's the secret advice here. I complained loud enough about environment maps and cube maps, and someone wrote a tool about it. I'm happy.
Good job. This one's sort of related. So can you inherit from other classes like it was possible in Quake? I guess that we are talking entity classes.
Yes, you can. This little base attribute that you saw, you can use that to inherit from other classes. I didn't show it too much because it's a whole bunch of boilerplate. But if you know about Quake mapping, you will know about something like point classes and things like that. So in the parlance of Bevy Trench Brew, point classes is something that you place in the scene, like your regular entities, your crates and whatever. You can also have base classes. These base classes, you cannot place them in the editor because they're like abstract, talking OOP terms. But you can inherit from them with the base attribute. You can do that. You can definitely do that, yes.
Can you have, I mean, this is now me following up. Is there, can you build hierarchies like that? Like, can you have a base class, another, and you inherit further? Which means that how is that going to be accessible on the Rust side then, lacking the actual inheritance mechanism?
It's required.
If each of them has properties.
It's just required components then.
Oh, right. Of course.
If you inherit from A, that just means you also have an A on your entity. Yeah. Just make sure that all of these things have fields that have different names, because the Trench Brew editor, that one doesn't know about any hierarchy. It's just like, oh, here's a whole bunch of key value entries.
List all the properties that it would.
Yeah, exactly. List all the properties of the hierarchy. So,
well, that's also one way to solve the whole diamond problem there.
Yeah, you just flatten it there. No diamond there. Like, fortunately, like Bevy doesn't really lend you, shoves you the way to do hierarchy stuff. So this problem doesn't really come up in my experience.
Mm-hmm.
But if you remember, I showed that I put a point light in the scene. I put that in there by just inheriting from the Bevy point light. So this is why it also had all the fields of the Bevy point light in the editor.
Yeah, that's, I mean, regarding the lighting question would have been interesting. How do you actually even place them? So you need to build your own entity that inherits from this lighting thing?
Yeah,
or
I can
otherwise you don't have...
I can very quickly show this on my screen, actually, if you don't mind. Because it's very little code. It's easier to just show it than to talk about it.
Sure.
Is my code visible?
Yep.
So I hope the font size is good enough. But this is the code for the point light. So this, you see, base, point light. This is just a Bevy point light. Now I called mine light point. Why is that? That's because Trench Broom uses underscores to group things. You see these things? I don't know. It's a small font, but my lights are called light directional, light point, light spot, and these are all under the light group. This is why it's called light point. But yeah, this is all the code you need to get your light going. It basically just says inherit the Bevy point light, and that's it.
Yeah. Okay. And if you don't define this icon sprite thing, then it wouldn't show up as a proper lighting icon in Trench Broom, or what?
It's just a cube then. It's just a purple cube.
Okay. Right on. Oh wow. Yeah. So I guess the only other thing that I was wondering when you were talking about the BSP format, that also makes you, that forces you to actually build these enclosed maps, right? Doesn't it have to be like watertight essentially, or airtight to work?
Yes. The thing is, the compilation step is split into 3 things. One of them builds the actual binary space partitioning. That part doesn't care about watertight. The second part is the light. That one also doesn't care about watertight. The third one builds visibility zones, which the Quake engine uses as an optimization for, saying like, okay, if you're standing here, you can only do these. These things care about watertight enclosed spaces, but they're not used by Bevy Trench Broom. So in practice, no, you don't need to enclose it. That's fine. You can forget about it. Except if you want to flex to your friends that your level can be loaded in Quake, which is kind of cool. But then you need that.
Well, okay, that's a stretch goal. I see. Awesome. So this is the stack that you also used for the Game Jam game, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Cool.
I also have,
so
as a little bonus of something else that helped a lot for the Jam game, I have a little bonus for showing the hot patching stuff, if you care about that.
What exactly?
Hot patching is this cool new feature where your game is running and you're changing the code in the system, and it live patches the running app, which is especially nice for UI because you can just write UI code and the running game gets updated with the new UI.
That's okay. If you have that to show right now,
I
then
prefer that because I thought like, this might be interesting for some people.
that's an interesting nugget. Let's have it before we call it a day.
Improved CLI from Dioxys. Exactly. You got that right. This is about the Dioxys stuff. Let me quickly share my screen yet again. Just stop me if I'm taking up too much screen space here. So, all right. So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So this here is made with Bevy Simple Sub-Second System. It's a bit of a mouthful. I'm sorry, that's my bad. But this is our little prototype for hot patching. This is built into 0.17. So for the next release, you don't need a dependency. But if you want to try this out right now, look into Bevy Simple Sub-Second System. That repo has all the information for, let me just quickly open the right thing. There, this repo has all the information for how to set this up. So I will not go into detail. But once you have set it up, you can use the Dioxys CLI with DX, and then you do serve with a patch option. And now this will compile real quick. You can see our UI here. Now, can I maybe do it like this, like that? Is that working fine on the stream?
Mm-hmm.
Good. And now you can see that I can just add new texts, and they're in the UI. And as you can see, I didn't restart anything. I can also enable the debug view here and change the texts to whatever, and it hot patches it live. And this is really, really, really good for doing UI. It's also good for tweaking stuff like in our zombie game, we had things like how quickly should the zombie move, how fast should it hit. Things like that were really nice to just hot patch and just see live. But in my opinion, the biggest advantage you get is from being able to do these UIs real quick.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, that's because for the other stuff, you can also pretty easily use like asset files that define properties and things like that, right?
Exactly.
That you can easily hot reload. But for UI, this is at this point
precisely. Yeah.
Pretty shit. Yeah.
So the only thing you need to do right now is this little annotation here. As I said, this is part of Bevy 0.17. So if you just want to wait until that, you can forget about it. If you want to use it right now, Bevy simple sub-second system and this little annotation. It just
but you have to manually do that. You cannot just auto flag every system like that.
No, you cannot. You cannot.
Okay.
Again, like this is the important part that is upstreamed.
No, but I mean also with the upstream version, it's going to be required.
Oh no! The upstream version doesn't need anything.
Oh.
The upstream version just has a flag. You just say Bevy, and then you add the feature. I think it's called hot patching.
Mm-hmm.
There, you add the feature, and that's it.
Okay,
the rest
that's pretty dope.
magically works. That's it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah,
how's that?
It's really, really, really cool.
How's that when you change the signature? Does that also work?
It crashes and burns. So there's a couple of caveats there. You can. The thing is, if you change the signature, then the function that is in the V table is no longer the correct one, so it doesn't work. But we have done a little workaround, because this is kind of like the prototyping crate for that. There is a attribute called hot patch signature there, and this one will tell you that you can also change the signature. It comes with new caveats, because then it just wraps your system into a new system that has world access. And what you're hot patching then is the inner system, not the outer system. So a couple of caveats. For example, your locals will no longer work if you do that. So if you have an event reader, yeah, that's not going to work. So yeah, that one is like, but the version that just works without any caveats whatsoever, just works magically, is this one, where you don't change the signature, you just change the content of the function.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I mean, that's already a huge improvement.
It's really cool. We wouldn't have been able to do the UI for the Jam game at all without this. Because I cannot change the UI, then play up to a certain state, and then think, oh no, actually this is off by a few pixels. Let me restart the game and then shoot zombies again until I'm at the right state. Yeah, no, that's, you come up with other workarounds then, right? You build a UI testing scene or whatever. Yeah, of course. But that's just like more work you have, and you don't have the time for that. Or at least I don't have the time to come up with all of these workarounds.
No, for sure. I mean, an editor would be another workaround for this. Just saying.
I'm also seeing a comment about looking forward to deriving that baked lighting of Solari. Well, sadly, the author of Solari is not planning on implementing baked lighting with Solari.
What is Solari?
You have not heard about Solari? That's the built-in ray tracer for Bevy 0.17.
Oh, yeah, no, I've heard about this ray tracer proof of concept, but I didn't know it was called like that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that would be That would be pretty dope. Yeah.
It would be really nice to have baked lighting in there. So PR is welcome. If you are a a graphics programmer in the audience, you must do a PR right now to do baked lighting with it.
Not my words. Listen to Jan. Awesome.
See, I told you the secret is to nerd snipe other people into it.
That's a good strategy for sure. Okay, do you have any other remaining topics you wanted to talk about? Otherwise, I think we will call it a day now. All right, then thank you both so much. This meetup wouldn't be possible without all these insane contributors from the Bevy community and the willingness to share their experience, right? So I'm super happy and grateful to have you. And yeah, last shout out for chat to give you a big hand. Thank you so much to be here tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Okay, then this is it for the 11th Bevy meetup. Like I said, watch out for the Rust Unit YouTube channel for the recordings that are going to be uploaded eventually. And check out the URL to join our meetup group to always be up to date with new meetups being announced. And yeah, that's it for tonight. Thank you so much for being here, and see you next time.